Hey everybody, Kirk here with Space Pickle Designs, and today I have a necklace blitz with this month's bargain bead box in Dusty Rose. So I do have the selections in front of you. I'll go ahead and insert a little bit of a closer look of each of these necklaces here. Here's necklace 1. This is necklace 2. And finally, this is necklace number 3. Please vote for your favorite down in the comments below, and we'll see who wins. Alright, so if you'd like to know how to make these necklaces, then just keep on watching. For this necklace, this is kind of the vibe that I want for the bottom part, and so I am going to make this one of the focals on this side, and then we're gonna do a toggle bar and toggle ring on this side. So you will have to like put the necklace over your head and then clasp it in the front. And as you can see, when I laid out my beads here, I did 2 extra beads on the bottom, and hopefully that will give me enough drape. If not, we're in trouble because I think I'm out of this size beads after this, but we'll see how it goes. And I am just doing a chain with simple loops. So this is super easy. It's a little bit time consuming, but it's not hard. So if you like beading, this is kind of relaxing in a way. So just the simple loops here, and I kind of like to leave my beads where they're gonna be. I just put them back so that I know. So I will zoom you in for one of these so you can see, and I do work from the spool, and I do make sure to square off the ends just for a more professional look. You do not have to do that. It shouldn't really affect the structure. So we're just making simple loops. And so I will continue all the way down, and then I'll come back and show you how I put them together. All right, so I did my simple loops, and now I'm just gonna connect them together. No jump rings or anything. I am gonna start with the smaller bead on the inner loop and end with the smaller bead, and then on the outer loop, I'm ending with the larger beads, and the outer strand has 2 additional beads to hopefully get that that drape that we want for this particular piece. So I'm gonna fast forward you through this. It's just simply connecting them. We love a good fast forward moment, so let's get to it. Okay, so we've connected our chains and we're pretty close with the drape, but I am going to add a larger jump ring on the end before we connect these. Before we do that though, I do want to take off this bail, and I don't know if I'm just not feeling this bail, and we also don't need it. So I'm going to take that off. I'm actually going to cut get my trash pliers out. I'm going to cut the ring off as well. We are not going to need the ring either. All right. So what I will do is go ahead and file this down just a little bit. And I just have a bead reamer. And we just want to make sure nothing is scratchy. Because the last thing you want to do is have to go get like a tetanus shot or something, right? From your jewelry. All right, now I will go get some patina paint like we did with our other component in the other video. I will paint it, and then I will put some permalac on it, and then I'll meet you back. So here's our pendant after we've sanded. So we clipped the ring off, we sanded it. I put this antique copper permalac on it, or ultimate paint on it, and then I used the matte permalac. And this is what we look like. Is it perfect? No, but it actually takes that like silver harsh edge off. And so yeah, the paint's just a tiny bit warmer than what the actual metal is, but it's barely noticeable. And so we'll put it towards the inside of our necklace, so like this, because I wanted these little components to be like east and west. And so I am going to go ahead and attach my jump rings. And for the inner chain, I am going to use this tiny 4mm. Close it up. Close it up really well. All right, and then for this outside chain, we're going to use a bigger jump ring just to give it a little extra length. Right here, so the one with that we started with the larger size bead. And then we're going to put a 4mm on. And you'll see why. Hopefully it's going to lay the correct direction, because when we attach these, we are going to attach them with a large jump ring, because this is what we're going to attach to the pendant. And so I am going to scoop up my outside strand and my inside strand. See, I think I'm gonna need a mid-size jump ring to join them together. I'm doing it right. So we'll take another mid-size jump ring, join these together with outside, inside, right? And then we need our large jump ring to attach to our component. So we'll scoop up that mid-size jump ring, and I want to go through this part. This is why the jump ring has to be so large. All right. So this is what we look like. We have a little bit of a jump ring architecture going on here, but as long as you make sure that all your jump rings are closed well, you should have no problems. And so here is what that side looks like. We're gonna follow it over to the other side. And so I'm gonna lay this out how we want it to look. I'm gonna go ahead and add my small jump ring on to the inner, the shorter one. We're gonna do a larger jump ring on the outer one. Do a small one. Close it up really well. And then we need our medium one to gather our strands. So I'm going inside, then outside. here. And make sure we keep that jump ring up at the top because we are then going to use a small. Let me see. I don't know if a small is going to fit on that. We'll just use another one of these. Then we put our toggle. All right, so I'll zoom you out. And this is what it will look like hanging. All right, so we have our 2-strand, and I think the drape is pretty nice. And so let's work on this back part. So for the back side, I'm gonna make my own chain just because I don't want to use the chain from the box because I have some ideas for it. And so what I'm going to do is I am going to use this 20 gauge craft wire again, and as you can see, we're just going to make little figure 8s. Alright, so it's pretty simple. If you have your bail making pliers, I'm just going to use the second smallest. You can choose whatever size that you want, and I'm just making a loop till it turns into that. So where the metal or the end meets the body of the wire. And then I put my small plier in there and I wrap around this way. So you just want to make your figure 8. And then you take your pliers in there. And then you do your micro adjustments with your Zerons or whatever pliers you have. And what you want is there to be like no gaps. And you want it to be pretty flat. So if you have to like crunch it a little with your pliers, there you go. Let's do it one more time. I do flush cut the end of the wire. So I'm doing this. And you reposition your pliers. And you twist another loop. All right. And there's no wastage with this because you're working from the spool. Right. And so this one, that little micro adjustment right there, you get your figure 8. This one's pretty easy because you know like what it's supposed to look like. And so essentially what we're gonna do is just connect these with these tiny baby jump rings. Just like this. Right. I'm a little clumsy today. Feeling a little under the weather, so please excuse that. There you go. Another little jump ring. All right, so by using the jump rings, all your figure 8 components lay the same way. And so it's a very like nice looking chain here. It just takes a little bit of time. But what I'm gonna do, I've already measured my my bottom component and it's measuring about 11 inches. So I'm gonna go with 7 inches of chain to make it an 18-inch necklace, but you can do, you know, however long that you need to make it the length for you. And so I'm gonna make that length of chain and I will meet you back. All right, so we're back. We have our chain and it's just so like nice and dainty and silky. And so what we're gonna do, I've ended with the figure 8 loops on each side, so no jump rings. I am gonna attach a jump ring though for this side with the larger pendant. We're gonna use the big jump ring. And we're gonna go across from the other big jump ring and feed it into this portion of the pendant. Make sure it's nicely closed. We follow it over, and I'm gonna put a smaller jump ring on first. This is one of our 4mm, just because the way that this toggle, the loop on this toggle is, we will need just that extra little jump ring to make sure everything kind of sits flat. And we need the bigger one because the loop here is kind of large. So we're gonna pick up the smaller jump ring, close it up, make sure she's nicely closed. And here is our necklace. I think she's just so cute. And for this to be from the bargain bead box is pretty cool. It's pretty cool. So here she is on a little necklace form. Of course, if you wanted a longer necklace, just make the chain longer in the back, but I kind of like that really what you're seeing is this 2-strand moment, kind of like around your neck. So it's fully customizable depending on how many beads you have and how long you want to make your chain, but that's what she looks like on the bust. For this necklace, I want a segmented chain necklace with these nice little shell beads. And so I'm going to take some of these smaller beads off in order to be kind of spacers. I was going to use just seed beads, which you still could do, but since we have these, let's just give it a try. So I'm going to stack these until I feel like the length is good. And actually the sparkle in there kind of looks pretty cute. So I'm thinking probably 3 of the small. See, no, probably 4 of the small. And 5 of the shell. So these are nice little sections. You know what? Let's do this. We'll do some sections with 3 of the pink and then some sections with 5. So we'll alternate. That'll be our little thing of interest in this design. And again, simple loops, do wrap loops if you like that look. I don't like wrap loops that much. It's very seldom that I do a wrap loop. In case I just need more security, then I will do wrap loops. All right, so here's one with 3. That looks pretty cute. And then we'll do one with 5. I like that these are little, you know, they're not like machine precision cut, so it gives it a little organicness to it. And I'm so glad that these little beads fit on 20 gauge because I was kind of worried. All right, do our simple loop. So here's our 3s and our 5s. Let's see what well, I think we stay with our odd numbers here. So I'll continue to make 3s and 5s. I'll probably make a few more 3s just because when we get to the swoopy part of the necklace, right, the middle part, we're gonna want more of the 3s than we are the 5s just because of how it's gonna lay, because this will be more of a like stiff place in your necklace, so we'll probably put more of the 3s towards the middle, and so I'll probably make a couple more of those. But go ahead and make your components, and I'll meet you back. Okay, so I've done my components. I did 6 of each size. I know I said I was going to do a little more of the 3 ones, but the way that this necklace is made, I don't think it matters, and so I'm just going to make it even. What I've gone ahead and done is segment my chain into 10 link segments, and so I'm starting with this pendant down here, and in order to get it to lay correctly, I am going to take a larger jump ring, and this also gives us an option to add some dangles to it if we want to, some dangles in the front, which may be a fun idea. So maybe some of those little crystals. And then I'm taking a 4mm jump ring here, and I'm going to attach the first 2 links of chain, 1 on each side. I'm going to close that up really well. And so this is how our pendant is going to lay. So we're starting off with chain, and the more that I'm looking at it, the more I think we do need a little bit of dangle action in the middle, but we'll get to that in a little bit. So what I'm going to do is just attach each segment. I did a 3, 5, 3, 5, 3, 5. And I'm going to just attach them all together so that we have a comprehensive necklace, and then we'll take a look at what it looks like. So here's our pretty little necklace all put together, and it's quite long. It's like 26 inches, which is okay because we have this like long dangly pendant, but it is a little plain. So what I do want to do is kind of make a little cluster of crystals that we can hang in front of it. And what I'm going to do is I am going to use my 20 gauge wire, and we're going to do kind of the same technique of making our own little head pins with simple loops. So I put my crystal on. I'm going to take my Xeron pliers and just make the tiniest loop, or like little bend, as you can see. And then we have our crystal, and then I'm going to need help with my pliers to bend it. I just bend over this bead with my fingers like that, and then we're going to try to make a smaller loop. So I'll try to make the smallest loop I can comfortably make. And here is our little crystal component. So let me go ahead and get the rest of these done. I think I picked out 7. Nope, there's 8 here. I will pick up 1 more. I'll make it uneven, so I'll make 9 of these, and then I'll meet you back and show you what we're gonna do. So here's how we're gonna make our little accent, and I've already kind of laid it out how we are going to build it. We have 4 on each side with 1 down at the bottom as the dangle, and we have these jump rings that are going to attach 2 dangles at a time. So I'm just going to start with the bottom, and we're going to feed on our first crystal. That's the only one that goes, and that one. And we just make sure that our jump ring is closed well. We pick up our next jump ring, okay? And so we hook it to the jump ring, and then on each side, you want to make sure that you have it on each side, just 1 dangle on each side. All right, laying it down. Pick up the next jump ring. Normally I would just feed these jump rings on, but they are not closed completely. So we have our next jump ring on, and we want to put 1 dangle on each side. Close it up. Lay it down. All right, we have our next jump ring. Pick up the jump ring, Make sure you still have your dangle split on each side. Technical difficulties here. Sorry. I can't see. I can't see. All right. Here we go. Put a dangle on each side. Close it up. Lay it down. All right, this is our last tier. All right. Make sure our dangles are on each side of that jump ring. And then close it up. Oops. Can't believe we didn't lose a component on that. But these jump rings are so strong. And then I have this last larger jump ring. This is probably a 6mm. And again, make sure that you're splitting your dangles. And before I close it up, I'm going to feed it on to the front of the pendant. This is a super strong jump ring. All right, and so here is our component hooked on to the front of our pendant. So this is what our necklace is looking like. She's a long one for sure. Get this situated here. Here we go. We definitely have that cute little bunch of crystals that kind of ties in the entire necklace with our little, you know, little crystal bunch we got going. So this one is too long to show on my shorter form. I don't have a long form, but here is our necklace, and she's just the perfect little hippie vibe going on, especially with the shells and a little sparkle from those crystals that we put in between. But I really like the beaded chain kind of look, and we switched it up by using different like lengths of segments, and I think it's really, really pretty. Tell me what you think. So let's try something out for this one. I kind of laid out like the centerpiece of this one, and what I want to do again with my 20 gauge copper, because I don't have 20 gauge antique copper, I'm gonna make a pretty sizable loop. And let me get so I want this loop to be large enough to hold these little pendants and have some movement with them. All right, perfect. So I will cut some off. It's just gonna be about 1.5 inches here. And I think we need to do that much, but here we are. And how do I need to attach this? Probably perpendicular. But we will do wrap loops on this just for what, you know, just to change it up a little bit. I love my simple loops though, I'm not gonna lie to you. So we'll just do something different. All right. So we have our wrapped loop. Then we tuck in our tail, straighten out our loop. And here is our component. We'll do one more for you on camera. All right, we square off our wire. We make a pretty large loop right here. I take my pliers down and then attach the pendant, close it up, go down about 1.5 inches, feed on our rose quartz here, make a perpendicular wrapped loop. Right. Cut that one a little short. Tuck in our little tail. And here's our component. So I have 2, and I'm gonna make a total of 5. So I will do that and I will meet you back. So we're just gonna do an easy stringing one with this, and then the back of the necklace will be the rest of the chain that we have. So super simple, and I'm excited for that. So I just picked out some of these crystals. You can pick out whatever color that you want, but I'm just using them as a spacer in between our dangles. Let's see if it's sitting right. And we may actually need a couple more crystals in between. That's interesting. So let's see if we have enough. I'm a little blind by these lights here. Let's see if we have enough of the same color. If not, we will have to alternate colors, which is fine. It looks like we may just have enough. I do like my odd numbers. Like putting 2 in between just kind of feels wrong, you know? So putting just the 1 on the end, does that look right? Let's see how many we have. We only have 2 left, so we're just gonna have to stick with the 1 on the end. But I think that gives it enough drape. So yeah, we have to make do with what we have, because I don't want to like, that's the whole point of these videos, is to see like what we can make with the box itself. So I'm going to try to make pretty much the smallest loop I can. And I'm going to use magical crimpers with my copper crimp tube. And again, this does take a little bit of a learning curve, but once you learn it, it's just like kind of irreplaceable, because you just don't have to be bothered with, the crimp covers and all that. So I do recommend you pick one up and practice with it a little bit. Here's my second crimp tube. And we're going to try to feed this into at least one of the beads here. We'll pull that through. I don't want it to be too tight. We need some room to breathe. So I have a little bit of movement there. I'm gonna go ahead and crimp. I will say the copper ones are really tough. Like, they're hard, but they make the best little crimp bead. All right, so here's our component. Let's get some jump rings out. And we'll just do these small ones. We'll go one size up. All right, so these are probably a 5. And I'm just going to attach my chain. I have about like 14 inches of chain left, which is kind of wild. So I'm just going to attach it here, and we'll figure out the middle in a little bit. So just going to attach it, because I'm going to use the whole rest of the chain. Why not? We've used it for quite a few projects. And I can tell that this necklace would be the one that I would probably wear the most because it's kind of simple. But don't let that stop you from liking any of the other ones. Here is our little necklace. And then we're just gonna find the middle. It doesn't have to be perfect, you guys. Like, it really doesn't. Unless your mind tells you that it must be perfect. Because that's a thing too. There will be one link we won't use. Just put that off to the side. Forget she exists. And I'll take another 5mm jump ring for this side. I want to make sure, yep, we need this side to be the lobster because I'm right-handed. I'm going to put a jump ring on here, but then I'm going to put a larger jump ring just for ease of use. But I kind of like that matchy little look. So this is just, you know, to make your life easier. All right. Here's our little necklace, and I promise all these, they lay forward. They're just a little rough on the mat here. Let me clean up the mat and we'll look at this necklace. All right, so here she is. Yep, she's a simple one, but again, like a lot of times, the simple ones are the ones that I find myself wearing the most. Because I like to wear casual clothing, and so even though this got a little bit of bling to it, it's not too much. There's some earthiness when it comes to the matted rose quartz, and then we got a little bit of dangle action to provide some movement. So here is necklace number 3. Alright, so here are the necklaces that I made. I hope you enjoyed these, and please don't forget to vote for your favorite one down in the comments below. This will be number 1, this will be number 2, and this will be number 3. Y'all, I still have so many beads left in this box, so maybe I'll have to do some rings next. Tell me what you think about that down in the comment section below. All right, I will let you go. This was a pretty lengthy video, and I hope you're staying safe and well, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.